Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Deep Thoughts. And today we are talking about Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, Episode 6, Swordsman accompanying a demon. Oh my gosh, words. I am bad at them. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this episode. So, I don't know about you guys, but when the episode began and we saw Tanjiro getting all ready, like putting on his new uniform, and all that, getting ready to head out. Did anybody think of this?
My little baby off to destroy people.
I don't know. Right away, I was just like, I realized I'm starting to feel like Mushu towards Tanjiro, like, oh, my little baby off to destroy people. Or in this case, off to destroy, I almost called them ghouls. I guess the fact that Tanjiro is played by Kaneki's old voice actor makes me want to say ghouls, but it's demons. You have to say demons. My little baby off to destroy demons. And my god, Tanjiro goes absolutely in. This dude was on a mission this episode. We never see him slow down, but I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. But first of all, I do got to point out that in the opening scene with with Tanjiro getting ready, Nezuko was me. I was Nezuko when she's all wrapped up in the blanket and she has to be carried around in that carrying case. Real talk, if somebody were to be like, listen, I will carry you around, but you have to be in this box, I would 3,000% be okay with being carried around in that wooden box. I'm not even gonna lie, because I'm sorry, folks. I like being cared for, but also like Nezuko, if anybody came near my friends, I would drop kick them into next week if they were screwing with my boys and my gals. So yeah, I kind of relate more to Nezuko than I do to Tanjiro. Like, I wanted to be wrapped up in a blanket, carried around a box all day, and I would also destroy anybody who would dare oppose my boys and my gals. My boys and my gals. My bagals. My bagals. That's what I'm calling all my friends from now on. My bagals. I'm sure they're gonna love that. I also like that Orokodake points out that the material used for Tanjiro's new outfit is very clearly the same material that Reed Richards uses for the Fantastic Four, as it is able to withstand high temperatures and it doesn't really tear that easily. So clearly, it's what they use for the Fantastic Four's outfits. I'm going to just go ahead and say that this takes place in the Marvel universe, just a couple decades before everything popped off. You can't convince me otherwise. That is the only way. What is the material? Unstable molecules, I think, is what Reed Richards calls them. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, Tanjiro and all the Demon Slayer's outfits are made out of unstable molecules. You can't convince me otherwise. That's just fact now. Also, Orokodake being a proud papa, that got me in a way I wasn't expecting. Again, with the show manages to get me all emotional in ways that I never quite expect. Like seeing the Orokodake buttoning up Tanjiro's shirt, like, if you will allow me, and he fixes his shirt, and then we see Tanjiro like waving goodbye. And it's, if you notice, Tanjiro's very slow to turn. Like, he doesn't really want to, because he knows as soon as he looks away, there's a good chance he may not see Orokodake again for quite some time. So the fact that he's like slowly turning around, I don't know why, that kind of warmed my heart and also sort of broke my heart at the same time. I hope we continue to see Orokodake in the series, because he very much became the show's sort of like Master Roshi father figure type of deal. So I hope it's not the end of Orokodake. I hope we continue seeing that character. He's really fun. He's probably my favorite character thus far, if I'm totally honest. But yeah, I don't know. I hope we see more of him. I also should point out that there's a lot more CG this go-round. We see this with sort of characters that are distant. We see this with the boats when Tanjiro enters the city. In particular, we see this when Tanjiro is saying goodbye to Orokodake, which should have been jarring, but I was too in the moment to really notice. And it's far away enough that you only really notice because of like the way the character turns. Because it's a slow turn, you do sort of notice like, oh, he stands out a little bit from the background art, and not because he's drawn on a different layer, because he's genuinely like CG. It didn't really bother me because they were smart in the way they did it. They kept the characters that are in the distance CG, while characters that are up close are still 2D. So I thought they handled it really well. I'm not really one to knock CG in anime, especially when it comes to stuff like Ufotable, because I think they do a pretty decent job. In fact, I'd say above decent. By the way, there's a video a buddy of mine made on CG and anime. I highly recommend you check it out. It's by our friend of the channel, Donghua Reviews. I'll link that in the description. If it's not there, remind me, because I probably forgot. Knowing me, I have the memory of a goldfish. But yeah, if you guys want to see a video on CG and anime, I highly recommend checking out that one. But yeah, the CG in this episode, it's there, it's noticeable, but it's not jarring. It doesn't take you out. If you, because of the fact that it's noticeable in the first shot we see it, which is Tanjiro and Nezuko saying goodbye to Orokodake, because it's noticeable there, it's noticeable in the rest of the episode. If I didn't see it there and like we saw CG like earlier on, I probably wouldn't have noticed. So I think it's done pretty well. I also want to point out that the episode actually gave me, and you all may laugh, but it gave me supernatural flashbacks. It sort of felt like we had like the monster of the week, and we're introduced to this week's characters who are gonna like carry us through this week's story, while our main characters, the Winchesters, or in this case Tanjiro and Nezuko, are gonna slay the bad guys, slay the demon, and carry on. Because what Supernatural did, and what I feel Demon Slayer does even better, is that they really go out of their way to make you care about a lot of the characters. Early Supernatural did that, where you genuinely are like hoping for the best for a lot of like the side characters, and sometimes the side characters even returned. In cases like I believe it was Andy from season 1 and 2. I can't remember. Andy's dead now. Spoilers. Was it Andy? I don't remember. He was one of the psychic kids. Anyway, not important. In this case, we're introduced to the same dude from the night, or the episode before, during the night where like the demon took, or a demon that we don't see took his girlfriend, and it's the same dude from that night. So we see the poor guy, and he is at a total loss. Like when Tanjiro enters the village, he's like wandering around in a daze. It looks as though he had not, like he hadn't slept. He looks as though he's been beaten up. So at first I thought maybe the whole village was against him, but it's even sadder than that. No, because the village actually feels sorry for him, because what happened is, like a good man, he went to the girl's family to explain that she just disappeared. And the father, again, being a good person, because he doesn't know what's going on, maybe not a good person, but a father, he kicked the kid's ass, because as far as the dad's concerned, the girl disappeared on that boy's watch. So of course he's going to think like, what do you mean disappeared? And of course they know that like girls have been going missing recently. So as far as he's concerned, like this guy got my daughter taken and blah blah blah. So you could tell there's a lot of guilt in this character, and I hope we see the character in sort of fleshed out. I hope we get some we end at a good place with this dude. I'm already invested in this dude. I don't think we'll see him like for the rest of the series. I think his story will wrap up in next episode, but I do sort of hope for the best for that guy. They really sold his dilemma, and it was really impressive how much they got me to care about a side character whose name I don't even know. But as I said earlier in the video, Tanjiro was on a mission. Like, not just, oh, he was given a mission. I mean, this boy was on a mission, and he was gonna carry it out. Tanjiro's like doing the whole like, follow your nose wherever it goes, and I promise that's the last time I'll make that joke. I can't stop making that joke in this series. I'm not gonna promise that. I mean, yeah, I can't promise that. I'm sorry, folks. But yeah, seeing the scent trail was a little odd looking. Tanjiro said it was faint, but I mean, like, it looked like it was all over the friggin' place. But it was against, he's up against a demon the likes of which we haven't seen before, then like sort of cloaked in this like shadowy goop. And I gotta say, like, to harken back to the Supernatural comparison, it was genuinely spooky. The vibe that you get from this demon, like the way that it almost felt like less like Supernatural and more like Freddy Krueger. Like when the girl goes to sleep and the goop sort of like encompasses her room, and then you see the hand come up and it just pulls her down. Like, did anybody else think of Johnny Depp from Nightmare on Elm Street, like just getting pulled into the bed? It was genuinely spooky. Can you? I got chills. I was like, oof, I couldn't even imagine, because usually I like to be like, what would I do in that situation? I can't imagine what I would do in that situation. Just what she did, just scream and cry, because there's nothing you can do. That's some spooky stuff. And speaking of the demon, though, that sound it makes when it grinds its teeth, like, I can't even, it genuinely was like nails on a chalkboard. I was like, oh, that's unsettling. And I mean, like, they really sell this demon as unsettling. The only thing I think I didn't like in this episode was maybe like this one POV shot that sort of pops up. It just, it's sort of out of place, didn't look quite right. I could tell they were going for maybe like a the POV, like sort of like the POV shots you see in Promised Neverland, but I feel like in Promised Neverland it works better because it melds more with the storytelling. It felt like you were seeing through the eyes of somebody eavesdropping on the characters, given that was more of a mystery, whereas with this, I get that they're trying to put you in Tanjiro's shoes, but it just didn't quite work for me. I wasn't really feeling that. And the sword was like the only bit of CG that I thought was like not rough, but just didn't look quite right. It did the POV shot wasn't great. I kind of hope they don't do that again. But the techniques though, the techniques that we see on display, water style. My boy was bending like Avatar or something. I haven't even seen Avatar, but I'm gonna make that reference anyway. And yes, I haven't seen Avatar. I apologize in advance. But yeah, the techniques on display from my boy, it was glorious. Ufotable animates the water style that he uses with such grace. Like, it just looks so dope. And Nezuko with that quality time and that drop kick. Well, not drop kick, but that just powerful boot to the face that made that dude's head spin around like a friggin' Beyblade. It was just, oh, it was dope. The fight in this episode was pretty dope, I'm not gonna lie. And I love the end line of like, all humans are your family. Protect your family. That was dope. And the fact that Nezuko saw her family in those two, that moment really, like this show hits with these like big, crazy, bombastic action scenes and then really slows it down for these like really simple, really quiet, touching moments. And the balance between the two is constantly impressive. I don't think I'm missing anything. Oh no, I am missing one thing. We do get to know a vague hint at the identity of the demon who killed Tanjiro and Nezuko's family and turned Nezuko into a demon, and it is apparently the first demon. I'm getting some Dracula vibes here, and I'm all here for it. I don't quite remember the first demon, quote unquote's name, but I believe in the preview the next episode is named after him, so maybe there's a chance we might see him pop up in the next episode. That would be pretty rad, I'm not gonna lie. And that's gonna do it for today's video, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy today's video, then, you know, hitting that like button, sharing the video around on the internet, that would be super rad of you. And if you'd like to stick around and check out more from me, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and join the good ones. And before we go, as always, I have to give a big shout out to the good folks over on Patreon, namely those in the Earl Grey tier: Omner Garamond, Veridin, Tristan, No For Nothing, Urza, Caden Fate, Gabriel, Dominic, Sipco Games, and Opinionated Slime. If you too would like to join those in the T Squadron, then by all means go ahead and check out the link in the description to our Patreon. That would be super appreciated. And until our next meeting, stay rad and don't scary.